Aspirasi Keluarga Malaysia event organisers slapped 1,000 ringgit fine for flouting SOPs. And on Human Rights Day, we look into how to solve prison overcrowding. That's coming up. Organisers of 100-day Aspirasi Keluarga Malaysia event at Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre were fined 1,000 ringgit for failing to adhere to COVID-19 SOPs. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, who also attended the event yesterday, said the lack of physical distancing was regrettable and disappointing. The organisers were fined under the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act, or Act 342, for failing to ensure physical distancing. 1,000 ringgit is the maximum fine allowed under the Act. In a related matter, Khairi said that the traffic police summoned discount counters at the convention centre will be closed immediately for breaching COVID-19 SOPs. In conjunction with the event, the Police Force and Road Transport Department have offered up to 80% discounts off outstanding summons. The 4-day event, which started on Thursday, was packed with images showing those attending did not adhere to physical distancing measures. Police in Majlis Amanah Rakyat Mara launched a probe into a video allegedly depicting a Mara Junior Science College student being bullied. In the viral video, a boy was standing silently while his peers take turns punching him. Perak Police Chief Datuk Mior Farid Al-Atrash Wahid said the investigation was looking into the MRSM campus in Kuala Kangsar to determine the video's authenticity and whether it is an old or new incident. Meanwhile, Rural Development Minister Datuk Sri Mazir Khalid said he had ordered Mara to conduct a detailed probe into the incident and assured there will be no compromises. A video showing a group of teens, allegedly MRSM students, bullying another student has gone viral, triggering widespread outrage. The Customs Department will not proceed with the enforcement of liquor licensing at restaurants and coffee shops. This follows a latest circular from the Finance Ministry that ordered the enforcement to be discontinued, effectively cancelling an earlier circular issued by the Customs Department, which required restaurants and coffee shops to apply for liquor licenses starting next year.
Transport Minister Datuk Sri Dr. WIKILEAKS said the Customs Department has issued a letter stating they will reverse its decision to proceed with the requirement. 28 years ago, the Customs Department issued a directive which postponed the enforcement of liquor licensing. But it was reported in August that the department had revoked its own directive. We also clarified that he and Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz did not contradict each other over the liquor licensing issue.
Land acquisition inquiry for Kampung Baru has been postponed to 2022. Kampung Baru Development Corporation (PKB) said this would buy more time to enable negotiations between developer of owners of Sungai Baru PKNS flats and lots to reach an agreement. PKB was given green light by Federal Territories Ministry to facilitate the planned redevelopment of the Malay enclave. There has been recent uproar after residents said they were offered between 200,000 and 250,000 ringgit in compensation to vacate their land, which they say was inadequate to buy a property in Kuala Lumpur. Up to 70% of homeowners in the area have reportedly agreed to the redevelopment of the area and have given their signatures. In conjunction with Human Rights Day, we take a closer look at the issue of overcrowding in prisons. Suhakam Commissioner Gerald Joseph says it is high time to introduce sentencing guidelines for courts to better assess suitable sentences for types of offences committed. He said this will ensure a range of sentences will be available to appropriately reflect seriousness of each offence.
Basically giving the courts a larger possibility of giving punishment, and not only jail time as the regular form, 1 week or 10, So we know Malaysia, we reacted when the mother who stole milk or some food from supermarket, and she was sent a few weeks or few months in jail. People reacted, say, "Oh, this is such a small crime. Isn't there alternative methods to detention?" So we're not saying let the person go, because stealing is stealing. You've done something wrong. But the grounds for that, the courts should have a wider range. That's why the sentencing guideline is something that is being proposed now, hopefully courts, the judges will then have the independence to also decide what's the level of severity, and then give maybe community work, maybe, do some other form of being bonded over, but you can go back to your normal life. So a variety of sentences rather than sending minor offences into jail.
A framework that focuses on rehabilitating prisoners would have a wider impact, said Gerald, and destigmatize the way society views them.
The punitive measure of punishment, I think, is now being questioned. Can we move to a rehabilitative framework? So prison becomes a rehabilitation, and it's not a punishment center. So we are moving away from this node of punishment. Hopefully, that will then change the way we react to ex-prisoners, because once you go in, the labeling is so serious. I mean, if somebody comes out, if we know he has gone into jail, oh my God, he or she will suffer getting a job, even being friendly to your neighbor. Oh my God, be careful, the neighbor has gone to jail. So I think stigma plays a very important issue. A person may have done something wrong in life. He or she has paid that price by law, so habislah, settle. But now when the person comes out, that person should be given a second chance. I think Malaysia needs to embrace that value of second chance, because we're all humans. In our own lives, we've done many things we are not happy, but we ask minta maaf, forgiveness, and we try to continue. So we also need that kind of value, Malaysian value for that. And
can we hold our heads high as a nation committed to human rights, which is essential to the free development of all who call Malaysia home? Tonight on Consider This, we speak to our guests about the state of the nation on Human Rights Day. We'll take a quick break. Stay with us.
Menemui tawaran percutian yang sempurna dengan Trivago adalah begitu menyenangkan.
Welcome back. As the economy tries to recover in times of pandemic, the potential for a startup to become successful is much more competitive. How do we make Malaysian startups stand out in a crowded space? We speak to Gure Osterk from UK-based startup Infobit. According to him, it takes an average 7 years at the least for a successful startup to become a unicorn.
As of 2021, there are 554 unicorns in the world, and 87% 87% of these unicorns are software companies. They are selling SaaS software solutions. 7% of these companies are selling hardware, and 6% are selling other solutions and products. So when we discuss about how we could make the startup and business ecosystem better in Malaysia, we also have to keep that statistics in mind. So pandemic has shown us something that all being offline is not enough. If any enterprise, if any business wants to grow, they have to be present in the cloud, online. This is a must.
Gure added that the pandemic pushed many digital-based startups to flourish, including Infobip, which utilizes AI to bridge companies and customers. Besides that, he also said that expertise and experience are crucial in pushing businesses into unicorns.
I believe the amount of C-level executives in Malaysia lacks a little bit. It could be better, because scaling up a business, making a startup walk towards the unicorn path is not easy. That really requires expertise here, expertise of people who has already done this before, expertise of people who has been in this industry, who has been seeing and observing, analyzing what has been happening, and someone who could actually guide these startups, guide all these companies to do the right deeds.
On the international front, the United States government has won an appeal at Britain's High Court over the extradition of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. This means Assange is now closer to being extradited from a British prison to the US. The 50-year-old will face 18 charges over WikiLeaks' publication of secret military documents and diplomatic cables a decade ago, which the US said had put lives in danger. If sent back to the US, Assange would stand trial on espionage charges and, if convicted, could face a prison sentence of up to 175 years. The US was appealing against a January ruling by a London district judge that Assange should not be extradited because he would likely commit suicide in a US prison. The World Health Organization has once again urged wealthy nations to stop hoarding COVID-19 vaccines. With the rapid spread of the Omicron variant, vaccine hoarding could threaten supplies to nations where populations are still unvaccinated. Some rich countries are accelerating the rollout of a booster shot in response to Omicron. Studies this week found that a 3-shot course of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine was able to neutralize the new Omicron variant, though more clinical data is required. New COVID cases in Africa almost doubled over the past week to 107,000. The biggest surge in numbers, 140% on average, was in the south. However, health experts say severe cases remain low. WHO nevertheless called on African countries to step up vaccinations. Only 7.8% of the continent's roughly 1.2 billion people have been vaccinated. In other news, citizens across Myanmar undertook a silent strike today, leaving highways, shopping areas and marketplaces empty in protest of the current military government. The move was seen as a way to safely express their opposition to the military rule after thousands of protesters were detained by the junta.
The Myanmar army is once again facing widespread international condemnation, following a recent report of a massacre in the country's northwest region, in which soldiers allegedly killed 11 civilians. The junta has called it fake news. Opposition to military rule has been widespread and constant since the army ousted the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi. Security forces have used lethal force to crush peaceful demonstrations.
At least 54 people were killed and more than 100 injured when a truck overturned in southern Mexico. Most of the victims were believed to be migrants from Central America trying to get to the United States.
The incident happened in Mexico's Chiapas state bordering Guatemala. The truck carrying dozens of migrants crashed into a pedestrian bridge over a highway. It is not immediately clear what caused the crash. Migration is very common from Central American countries like Honduras, Guatemala and Nicaragua. The dangerous journey, often organized by people smugglers, travels north through Mexico to reach the US border.
That is all we have for you on AWANI tonight. Get Get the latest news updates on COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccines from AstroAwani.com and Astro Awani app. I'm Saraya Mia. We'll see you again soon.